Hello there and welcome, or perhaps welcome back to this channel, Mr. TraveLux. Hey there, I'm Addison. I'm the founder and CEO of Reliant Destinations and MyCaribbeanLuxury.com. Thanks for taking a moment to stop by this channel today as we explore something about Sandals Grande St. Lucian. What is this something? Well, today we're doing things a little bit differently than some of the videos we've done in the past. Today, we're going to talk about the top 10 questions that our clients at Reliant Destinations ask us about Sandals Grande St. Lucian. Before we dive into the good stuff here, I just want to mention that in every video, we put lots of information in that description below. So make sure to have a look because you definitely don't want to miss out. On this channel, we have literally hundreds of videos about everything sandals and beaches, and also some things about our partner company, which is Reliant Cruising, a specialist with Regent 7 Seas Luxury Cruises. Also, we do want to say that our services for sandals and beaches, they come at 100% complimentary basis to you. Yes, that means that you can have the top service, the top value, and of course that one-to-one connection at no extra cost whatsoever. You can reach out to my team and I at hello@reliantdestinations.com. Again, that's hello@reliantdestinations.com. And also on our website, there is a tool on there which is fairly new, which is a cool tool helping you find your resort. You can answer a few questions on there and help yourself to determine which resort is the best fit for yourself. So make sure to have a peek. But for now, let's go ahead and dive straight into the content for this video, which is the top 10 questions we're often asked about Sandals Grande St. Lucian. Let's go. Question number 1. Is this the Sandals Resort with those over-the-water bungalows? Yes, we get this question often, and it's a very valid question. So the answer is also yes, but it's not the only resort with the over-the-water bungalows. For example, at Reliant Destinations, our office is actually headquartered in Montego Bay, Jamaica, and we are literally just across the street from Sandals Royal Caribbean. Sandals Royal Caribbean has a private island and there has over-the-water bungalows and villas as well. Also in Jamaica, Sandals South Coast, you see some beautiful over-the-water bungalows, over-the-water villas, as the name is changing to now. So we see those at a few different properties, and we also are going to see more of these coming very, very soon. So what I would just say to that is they're all great. Each are very different. So let's talk about here at Sandals Grande St. Lucian. Yes, there are over-the-water bungalows here. They're a little bit different. They're going to be at the far side of the resort in a little bit of a secluded area, which is what guests prefer for this type of experience. It's going to be along kind of a boardwalk or a gangplank, as some people would say, which also has a beautiful chapel at the end of it. Now, don't worry, this chapel is used very rarely. It's used mostly for wedding ceremonies, and that's like a half hour of the day if they're used. But it's a very beautiful area where a lot of people like to go in that area, relax. It's a great area for some photos. And there are also little hidden nooks and crannies along this boardwalk where the over-the-water bungalows are, which is a good place to go and relax, even if you aren't someone that's staying in one of those over-the-water options. So that's number 1 answered. Number 2, from the resort, how easy is it to get to Pigeon Island? Or, as some people would say, Pigeon Island. But yes, this is going to be a nice little peninsula. Not actually an island of its own, but a little peninsula that's right on the tip there of the gorgeous island of St. Lucia. Now, with this here, it is literally down the road, and I mean it is absolutely walkable. So if you were to exit the resort, you could walk there in a total of about 45 seconds. That's how close it is. The layout of this area is very nice. Across the road directly from Sandals, that's where you're going to have the Cap Estate Golf Course there, which is a magnificent standalone golf course, which if you're staying at this resort, you get free access to. So for golf lovers, don't forget that. But it's going to be down the road, because at the tip of this road there is going to be where you have the access to Pigeon Island, which has some amazing scenic points. It does have an admission fee. It's very, very, very small, and this is going to be an area where you can see a lot of old fort structures and, of course, some of the gorgeous scenery. It's a great place as well to turn around and look back onto the island where you can get some gorgeous views of the Piton Mountains. If you're not aware of the Piton Mountains, well, these are UNESCO World Heritage protected mountains, which are one of a kind there in the Caribbean, and they're not to miss when it comes to St. Lucia. Question number 3. So we're not scuba certified. Is it still worth going to the resort? Absolutely yes, and let me explain why. So one of the questions that we get all the time about all the different properties is it worth this premium all-inclusive if we don't do blank, if we don't drink, if we don't like to do water sports, if we don't fill in the blank, whatever it might be for you? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is still going to be yes, because these packages are constructed, yes, in a premium all-inclusive way, but they're not constructed in a way expecting everyone to take advantage for everything, because everyone's tastes differ. For example, at the Red Lane Spa, you can always have access to the facilities itself, even if you're not paying for a treatment, but we recognize that's not everyone's cup of tea. For some people, that is ideal, going there, finding the sauna, enjoying the plunge pool, relaxing in that tranquil area. For other people though, they have nothing that they want to do at the spa whatsoever. So this goes on and on, right? When it comes to drinks, for example, I don't really drink. I maybe have 1 or 2 glasses of wine a year or something like that, but I don't really drink much. So for me, going to one of the resorts, if I was to say the value there is in the all-inclusive booze, well, that's not really something that is going to stand out to me. But there's so many other things that I would want to do. That's where I'm going to put my time and energy, things that I also wouldn't be able to do necessarily if I was inebriated on alcohol. So you can just keep this in mind that this rationale goes for everything. When it comes to scuba, this is just one extra great thing that Sandals offers. If you are PADI certified already, you can go and you can have your wonderful 2-tank-a-day dive at Sandals. It's simply terrific. However, if you're not, well, there's a couple of options. You can do a PADI certification course there in the resort. Now, the full course, it can be a bit time consuming. So for a lot of people, it's not the ideal way to spend their luxury vacation. But for some people, it's a great place to come and do it, all depending on what your idea of value is for your experience. Maybe you don't want to do the full thing though, but you do want to have a dive. There's a very cheap introductory program where you can have a little sampler of the PADI course, then go for a supervised dive. So that's something where a lot of people take advantage of that. That's a nice hybrid in between. But if you're someone that's like, keep me out of the water altogether, I don't want anything to do with that type of water sport, well, as we talked about before, there are so many other things to do, from food and beverage, land activities, and of course, entertainment. Number 4, what's the vibe like? Is it a party atmosphere or is it peaceful? Okay, so here at Sandals Grande St. Lucian, I personally think you get the best of both worlds. So for me, I think when it comes to entertainment, it has some of the best entertainment at any of the Sandals resorts. In particular, I love the Fire and Water Show. The Fire and Water Show is a show that happens once a week there at this resort, and as it suggests, it is over the water, encompassing fire elements, and I should say a lot of talent, a lot of local Caribbean talent. And this kind of entertainment is absolutely superb. But this resort, as the word grand in it suggests, it is a fairly decent sized property, and so there is something for everyone there. If you're someone that does want something like a foam pool party, that's something which I have experienced there before, but that's something which happened over a 15-20 minute period throughout the day, not the whole day. Same, there's live music or DJs that happen sometimes around the pool, but I say pool, there's multiple pools, right? So if you're someone that wants the more peaceful, the tranquility, the quiet, you can find that, no problem. But if you're someone that is looking for the social element, something to do, you can have that as well. I cannot say that same thing for each of the Sandals resorts. Every resort is different. Some of them definitely have that hybrid approach of the peaceful and active like this resort does, but there are other resorts that have just one or the other, for example, are more tranquil or much more lively. Number 5, are the rooms really that close to the beach? Okay, well, this of course depends on which room we're speaking of, but in general, yes, at this resort, most of the rooms are right there along the beach. This resort definitely has one of the highest quantity of beachfront, ocean view type of rooms, and even those that don't necessarily have that feature are going to be within, I would say, a 45-second walk of the beach. So this resort, it is sizable, but the way it is laid out, nobody is far from the beach at any time. So of course, when it comes to rooms and suites, there's a lot of deviations and nuances that you want to know about. So that's, of course, where you reach out to my team and I. Again, that's hello@ReliantDestinations.com, and we can advise you further on the specifics about a particular room or suite, where it's positioned, and so on and so forth. Number 6 is, do I need to bring my own snorkeling gear? Okay, that's a great question. So the answer to this question is it depends. If you're someone that wants to go on an official snorkel excursion, which by the way are included, there are some upgraded ones as well, for example, some sunset tours and things like that. But in terms of the multiple times a day, daily excursion that goes out for snorkeling, all that will be included. So it goes into a sanitizer solution before and after it's being used, and that's something where that equipment is included. Now, if you want something a bit more specific, you of course can do that as well. You can bring it. So for example, I prefer to bring my own. It's just my own personal preference. I also have a special type of snorkel face mask that I like to use, and I like to know that mine is clean to my own satisfaction. So that's just my thing, right? So I like to bring my own. Sometimes I bring my own fins, sometimes I don't. It just depends, okay? So everyone, again, is different on this. So if that's something where you feel you would like to bring your own, you are welcome to. And of course, that does mean that when you swim out a bit as well, you can do snorkeling on your own when you have your own gear. If you're someone that doesn't want to do that, just wants to go out on the excursions, is not too fussed about the rest, you can just simply use the gear which is available on the snorkel boats. Number 7. This is a question we get not just about this resort, but about a lot of the resorts, which is, how is the food? And then sometimes that is followed up with, and for picky eaters, do they cater to me? So the answer to this is going to be the food, honestly, in my opinion, is great, okay? So I've seen Sandals come along a journey over the last many years. So I won't lie to you when I say that all of the food has always been excellent. In the past, there has been some things where, there's a couple of restaurants my own personal preferences just didn't necessarily love. Now though, the food quality is getting better and better and better all the time. And not just better, but the actual variation of food is expanding. We see a lot of the new resorts that have came out recently, like Sandals St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Sandals Royal Curacao, Sandals Dunn's River. A lot of these where new concepts were tested out. And when the new concepts were tested out, that kind of lit a fire in Sandals to go and do new innovations and re-innovations in existing properties. And so that's something where we've seen a lot of things coming, and I don't want to put a date on this video so this video can last for quite some time and really help a lot of people, but I would say there are some new things coming to this property as well soon. So definitely keep tuned for that, and if you want to hear the latest at any time, you can of course just reach out to us and we're happy to advise on that. But in terms of food, there's a lot of dining options here, and when you stay at this resort, you get access to the other 2 Sandals on the island, which is going to be Sandals Resort, which is going to be the southernmost one, and then the one between those 2, which is going to be Sandals Halcyon Beach Resort. So you end up having over 20 different options for dining between these 3 properties. So anyone who doesn't want something between those, well, probably is going to be hard to find something to eat in life in general, because there are going to be so many options. Now, for those that definitely have a little bit more of a refined taste, or if you are someone that has dietary requirements or particularly allergens, for example, that's something where the resort can definitely help. There is a culinary concierge desk that is here at Sandals Grande St. Lucian, and this desk is just like the name suggests. It is someone there, a concierge, to help you with your needs when it comes to dietary items. So they can go over all the menus from the various restaurants with you, advise you on which items are suitable for you, maybe gear you towards one restaurant more than another based off of your individual needs and things like that. And if you do happen to have a butler, it gets even more specific, because butlers can do in-room dining, and of course they can even request certain things from the chef bespoke for you. Number 8, is it safe to walk around the local area? Well, here's the thing. Safety is something where each place in the world has a very different view of this, and even the own interpretation of safe depends on where you are. So would I say that any Caribbean island in and of itself is completely safe? No. But also, where I live in the USA, there's plenty of things that happen here. So the average American city, a big American city, has more crime in it than a whole island in the Caribbean, even ones that have more, more rampage on crime. So it's something where it's all in perspective. The resorts themselves, they of course have great security to them. They have dedicated security teams, people that are not just allowed to go in and out of the resort unless they are a guest. And guests, of course, are checked to make sure that they are indeed a guest at that resort. So you won't find random people around the resorts. Now, if you choose to venture out, This is something where each resort, I definitely have a different recommendation on that. There's certain resorts where I would say, no, you stay to the resort or you take an official excursion and that's it. For this resort, I would say this local area, I personally have no issues. So of course, I am no stranger to the Caribbean. I spend a lot of my life in the Caribbean and I also drive in the Caribbean. So when I'm in Jamaica or St. Lucia, I do drive myself around. But of course, that is as someone who is very experienced with the local culture and the topography of these islands. For someone that's visiting for the first time or someone that's newer to the Caribbean, I always say take things with a bit of caution, but in particular this area where Sandals Grande St. Lucian is, I say the road itself feels very safe. You can walk across the road if you wish to go to the 𝗵𝘂𝗏 golf course. You can walk down the road to go to the island peninsula. So those kind of things, in my opinion, are no problems. Of course, everything comes with its inherent risk, as I always have to say for a liability disclaimer purpose. But at the end of the day, I've never had any client come back with an issue there, nor have I ever felt unsafe in that local area. And number 9. So what's the difference between this resort and the other St. Lucia Sandals? Okay, that's a great question. And the best thing is, because I mentioned before, you get access to all 3. If you accidentally pick the wrong one in St. Lucia, it's not the end of the world, because whatever your vibe you desire is for the day when you awake, you can simply head to that property. But at the end of the day, Sandals Grande St. Lucian, it is the most, in my opinion, majestic of the resorts. It's going to be one of the flatter of the 3 resorts, and it's going to be quite expansive. There's a lot of things there. It also is going to have the largest beach of the 3. Sandals 𝗖𝗪 Beach, which is the one that's going to be in the middle if we're going from bottom to top, with of course Grande St. Lucian being at the top, 𝗖𝗪 being in the middle. 𝗖𝗪 is a very small boutique style resort. It's very intimate. It's very quiet and peaceful there. Don't go there for a party, but if you want to go there to listen to the amazing sounds of the Caribbean, that's somewhere to go hang out in the daytime. Okay, so that's going to be one of the differences there. Sandals Regency La Toc, which is going to be another half hour or so more south, but then Sandals 𝗖𝗪 Beach, that resort is a cliffside utopia, as I call it. So there are villages here, and there are even going to be transportation between the villages because it is hilly, right? So they are cliffside villages. To get from one to the other on foot, well, that is going to be a pretty good workout. I've done it, but I know that's not for everyone. So if you are interested in that sort of thing, that's going to be radically different to those other 2 resorts. So as you can see, each one of those has their unique offering, their unique vibe, which gives it its own character. So which one's for you? Well, that of course depends on what you're hoping for from your vacation. But of course in St. Lucia, it's great to know that if you change your mind the next day or right after you arrive, you of course can head to that property, enjoy the activities, enjoy the entertainment, enjoy the food and beverage and everything else that resort has to offer just down the road. And our final one, number 10. Number 10 is, can I get a massage on the beach? So we did mention Red Lane Spa earlier. We talked about the facilities that are inclusive, even if you don't get a treatment. But if you do get a treatment, I do recommend pre-booking, because pre-booking allows you to have whatever time you want to make sure that's locked in and not have to worry about any availability on a particular day that might be busy in the spa. There's also a really cool massage, which I highly recommend if you're going for the purposes of romance to this vacation. And that's going to be the Sense of Love Couples Massage. And that's a tandem side-by-side massage. So this massage, you again can pre-book that in. For our clients, we send you a special link for that so you can lock in your time and make sure you get a good rate, all of that. But with this as well, by default, all of these massages are going to be booked inside the spa itself, which by the way are very tranquil, wonderful rooms. You can think about that spa music, all of the aromas of the spa, and it's just a really, really relaxing atmosphere. But I know for some people, their idea is having out maybe in a cabana along the beach, that massage where you can feel the ocean breeze rustle through your hair and that whole experience that goes with that. And for those people, the answer is yes, that's available. The honest truth and answer with that is it does come out of surcharge, but that's something which you can pay for that surcharge even with something that's pre-booked. When you pre-book, you cannot pre-book for an outside massage. Usually a couple of the resorts have 1 or 2 massages that are listed like that, but most all of the massages you are able to pre-book, and then when you get there in the spa, you can ask about some enhancement, as it would be called, some enhancement in terms of the location. And usually there are a variety of locations locations that are available to do that. So if you are someone that would like to have that experience, that is there for you. So this concludes the top 10 questions we're often asked about Sandals Grande St. Lucian. Thank you so much for stopping by this video today. As a reminder, my team and I at Reliant Destinations, we are always eager to assist. Our services come at no cost to you whatsoever. We want to make sure you have the very best global deal, the best service, the best expertise. We've been top rated, and I'm proud that we have won so many awards with Sandals, for example, like the top weddings producer globally, and so on and so forth. I won't list all the accolades, but just know that we are very passionate about what we do, and it will be our honor to assist you in your trip to tropical paradise. Please do make sure to like this video and subscribe for so many more videos forthcoming about everything sandals and beaches. I thank you again for your time today, and I can't wait to see you on all those wonderful pictures when you come back from a property, and maybe even we'll cross paths one day in resort. Take care.